Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, Mr. Vincent.
Well, surprisingly, very good response, huh? Yeah.
We do, very good,
Yeah,
like advertise. Yeah, I
yeah,
use my marketing also. Yeah.
yeah, excellent. Because I was surprised from 20 it becomes 112. That's very good.
There's a future talks, all will be more people to join. Yeah.
Okay, everyone have the slide to share. Just now we have the background, and maybe everyone can change a virtual background.
With your background, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's your, how to get your virtual background? Huh?
You download the one that belongs to you.
But I cannot download. Where am I? Share screen.
No, the one that I have WhatsApp to everybody one.
Yoga.
WhatsApp to everyone.
Oh,
May I know anyone have any slide to share or not? You can switch on the mic and talk.
yeah. Now I'm trying to download. Download the background.
Or you want me to email to you?
But how to download? You go to
download. Okay, I email to you. What do you think?
try and see.
Dr. Vincent, you give me your email address better.
Vincent Ng 2020 at gmail.com.
2020, okay. let us to have the group photo. Yeah.
Yeah, you listen.
Wait, I checking your.
Olivia, I already saved this into my desktop under pictures, but still yet I'm still finding out how to, for the
Oh,
background.
go to the video, click the video, and then choose the virtual background.
Virtual background, then you
Yeah.
add the
The
virtual background.
video, that stop video, that's the one you are telling? Oh, the video here.
And then you
So
put
I
the,
WhatsApp your everybody use
okay.
the what?
Yeah.
Ah.
Then
Wait. Then you download already? Have you download?
yep,
Dr. Vincent,
I already.
you guide him. I need to send to you. Dr. Vincent, can you guide?
Yeah.
You guide him how to do it. Her. You just go to the what? You just go to the
Background.
yeah
But the
video.
background doesn't really have this a visual background,
Okay,
right?
you see the WhatsApp group. I already give everyone the background. Have you seen that?
Yes, that's what
Ah,
I have downloaded mine.
uh-uh.
But the thing is, I don't know how to upload it.
Oh, okay. You inside the Zoom, you have the this video. Okay. You right click the video and then you choose virtual background.
Yes, I choose virtual background.
And then you got plus, right? Positive, add me image or video, then you add
Oh,
image.
there's nothing here for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uh, then there's add never mind. You see, have you seen my screen here? Yeah. So
1 minute.
you can see or not the screen?
Okay.
Uh, so there is
Oh, I don't have this.
oh, you don't have this? Mm,
I have a different setting here.
oh, like that. You
Yeah.
see here or not? You see here, right? Got the video, right? Choose my virtual
Uh-huh.
background, right?
Yep.
Then
I've
you
done
come.
mine too, but
You don't have
yeah.
it. Oh, okay. Then that doesn't matter. I just I want to synchronize for everybody. Okay, sure.
I will
No
try.
worries,
Yes.
no worries. Dr. Munira, okay, everything.
Yes, I should be okay.
Yeah, you have slide to share.
Don't worry. If anything, I will control myself. Don't worry.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
You are the main speaker.
Thank you.
Dr. Winston, can you done that? Maybe put your company beside Dr. Munira, can you put Kaseh Hospice? Dr. Winston, can you put NCAS like that? Dr. Winston then slash NCAS. Okay, you got video to play. Sister Devi, can you do it during your presentation? Just a quick one that play your video better. I worried that after your presentation, everyone go back already leh. I mean, it's good to do it during your session or not? I can't hear you.
How to play that?
Oh, where is your video?
I'll be sending to you now.
You send to me. So you have slide to share, right? Do you have slide to share?
No, usually I can share my experience first. Yeah.
Okay, sure, sure. Wait for Dr. Kong to come in. So, to share screen. So I asked everyone to be the co-host already, yeah? Okay. So the first one is the okay, I select for everyone.
Olivia, my gamba cannot come out. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. I cannot put my gamba.
I make you co-host or
Tak boleh. I cannot start your. Cannot lah. Maybe just now maybe just now I clock it. Maybe I just you try to do it
how
again.
come cannot
You try to do it again and see.
how to do it? Sorry, I still learning.
Maybe I close it first. I get out first.
Okay, you join again.
I join again. Okay, I join again. But you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Yeah, I already start the video here. So later on you will start the what lah? So you on your video. You on your video. Your video is I share screen already. You cannot share screen, but you can on the video. Can you on it?
I'm trying to put my photo also I cannot go in.
Hi, Dato' Vincent. I think she means you turn on your webcam, not your video.
Huh?
I think she means turn on your webcam, yeah.
But how come you start video? I didn't ask to start.
Don't need to start video, you start webcam. No, Dr. Kong cannot come in. Oh, why? Use a mobile phone. Okay, I think let's take a good photo together. Okay. Dr. Molina, can you switch on the camera as well? Okay. So, Dr. Vincent, can you on the camera?
I cannot go in because I don't know how come he start the video. How come I didn't ask to start the video? He start.
Start what video? Sorry.
I don't know how come he start the video. I did ask to play the video, but he went into it by himself. I don't know why. I didn't. Susah lah. I pun tak tahu. I pun tak tahu lah. How come?
Now you can already, can see you already.
Can see me?
Yeah.
I pun tak tahu. Okay lah.
Okay. Since everyone is here, can you on your Dr. Kong? Can you on your full what? Then we take a good photo together. Okay. So okay, everyone. Let me screenshot. Okay, sure. Okay. 1, 2. How can? Okay. Okay. Oh no, good. One more time. Sorry. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, smile. Okay. Send to the group. Okay, later. Okay, I have to live the FB and admit people in. Okay. Still start meeting already. Yeah.
Cannot get the background. Okay. Biar susah. I cannot get the background. Oh, almost 3 o'clock already.
Okay, now I admit all the people.
Yeah.
How to admit? Attendees already inside, is it? I'm not sure attendees is already inside.
Participant 32 ni sekarang.
Oh, participants already admitted lah.
Yeah.
Haven't admitted, right? Is it admitted?
Oh, the participant is already admitted, I think.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay. Participant.
Admit already, huh?
I don't know lah. You admit all and see. Because I don't see the participant list lah. I think you can only see, I cannot see. But I can see the participant in
Participants already live or not? Sorry.
already live. Okay. 32 ni sekarang. 32.
Okay, participants is already in.
Okay.
So, okay, let's start. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I leave it to you, Olivia. Okay, boleh mulalah.
Can start.
Because it's already 3 o'clock. Because you got 1.5 hours very fast.
Okay, sure.
The speaker.
Let me open the slide. Okay. I have to stop here. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me nice and clear?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me nice and clear? If yes, can you in the chat box and type 1? Great. Welcome, participants. My name is Olivia Kwa. I'm from iElder.Asia. And welcome to today's webinar, Living Well, Dying Well, brought to you by today's event organizers, the Nursing Care Association of Selangor and iElder.Asia, supported by Malaysia Coalition on Aging, MCOA, and Kaseh Hospice. Imagine a situation where your doctors So, do not share my script. Sorry. Wait, how to? I have off the share already, right? Stop share. Yeah. Hi, sorry. Yes, some hiccup here. Excuse myself. Okay. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Welcome, participants. My name is Olivia Kwa from iElder.Asia, and welcome to today's webinar, Living Well, Dying Well, brought to you by today's event organizer, the Nursing Care Association of Selangor and iElder.Asia, supported by Malaysian Coalition on Aging, MCOA, and Kaseh Hospice. Imagine a situation where your doctors take you aside and give you the bad news. Your loved one has less than a year left to life. What would you do? Coming face to face with unkind reality about the end of one life can be emotionally distressing, not just for the patient, but for their loved one as well. Most people would not know what to do, what step to take, and even what to think. Today, Talks will address stress management for caretaker and family members by providing tips and new perspective on the end of life journey based on real experience in sharing session provided by experienced professionals in palliative care. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the Chairman of Nursing Care Association of Selangor and your MC for the day, Dato' Vincent Ng. Dato' Vincent Ng.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, Olivia. Very good afternoon to all present, and especially our speakers and Olivia. And thank you to each and every one of you who have been here with us today. My name is Vincent Ng, and I'm a moderator for this session, Living Well, Dying Well, Improving End of Life Care for Patients and Family. So it looks like we have a good number of participants. I hope many more will clock in who are interested in this topic. I believe it's a very challenging topic to speak about, but very difficult, and it could be scary. Yeah, it could be pretty scary and difficult to handle. But nevertheless, we have a very distinguished speakers with experience to speak on this, so that we can open up this topic on terminal ill and how to handle them. So it is my pleasure to welcome you and all and walk through the program with you through this session. The main purpose of the seminar is to explore some palliative care for the terminally ill and help people who gain the language and skills need to empower, nurture, and care for those at the end of life. So we have three eminent speakers, and each of them will be given half an hour of talk and sharing on the topic. The Q&A session will be at the end of session, and you can put forward your questions through the chat box or through the Q&A box. So we have this is a welcome remark at 3 o'clock, and 3:05 we have hospice care tips by Dr. Siti Munare Ibrahim, and 3:35 we have experiences from past caregiver stress journey by Sister Anne Tuga Devi, and also 3:50 will be complimentary TCM on palliative care by Dr. Kong Wai Hong, and 4:15 is a Q&A, and 4:30 we end. So on behalf of NCAS, we'd like to thank and acknowledge all speakers, supporting agencies, organizing team who have worked hard to make this webinar a success. So we thank all the distinguished speakers who are willingly to share their knowledge and experience in this specialized field, and we wouldn't have done it without them. Thanks to Kasai Hospice Foundation, Lotusville Senior Care Center, Asian Integrated Medical Syndrome Berhad, Malaysia Coalition on Ages for their unwavering support. And special thanks to Olivia Kua for helping to organize and to have our first NCAS seminar virtually during the COVID pandemic. To begin the seminar, let me introduce the first speaker, Hospice Care Tips by Dr. Siti Munira Ibrahim, Hospice Director, Kasai Hospice Foundation. Let me read about her CV, and that Dr. Siti Munira graduated as a family medicine GP specialist in UK and developed a special interest in community palliative care. She has experience as a hospice doctor in UK and Malaysia, and is passionate about improving awareness and access to the valuable services for all patients and families who should benefit from them. Let us welcome Dr. Munira, and for the topic, the floor is yours, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vincent. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone who's present here today. It's lovely to see so many people here. Thank you to the organizers, Olivia, speakers, Sister Turga Devi and Dr. Kong. It's a lovely pleasure to be here with all of you today. Let me just share my slides. Okay, can everybody see? the big blue slide, yeah, living well, dying well. So, so before we start today, so basically my name is Munira, and I'm one of the doctors at Kasih Hospice Foundation. I'll just share a little bit about my background. So I don't know whether anybody recognizes this place, but this looks a bit like Hogwarts for those of you who have seen, you know, Harry Potter or any fan of Harry Potter here. It's actually University of Glasgow where I did my degree. This way back, I graduated in 2007. And then I did my housemanship in Birmingham and also Walsall. And then actually after that, I came back to Malaysia, to UITM, where I did my family medicine specialist training for a few years. But in the midst of that, my husband at the time, he received a PhD offer to go back to the UK. And so I stopped my training and restarted my GP specialist training in the UK. So I was based in a town called Rotherham, just outside Sheffield. And as part of my 3-year training, but extended to 5 years because I did some of it part-time, the lower bottom right corner is Rotherham Hospice. And that's where basically I was introduced to the world of palliative care and community hospice. And basically I just fell in love. I realized that this is what I want to do. It really is my passion. And so when I returned to Malaysia in 2019, I was looking for a hospice job and I really wanted to be involved in community hospice. So just to share some pictures from my time at the Rotherham Hospice, up the top, these are the occupational therapist, the physiotherapist, social worker. On the top right is the kitchen staff, bottom right is the receptionist. These are the nurses, cleaners. So we were all like a big family, and there's not so much pictures of the actual place, but if you can see at the bottom right, the place looked like a resort. It's like, if you look at the picture before, this is like a 1-story building on its own, the whole hospice. So inside this hospice, there's 14 beds. It has an inpatient unit. It has a daycare center. It also has actually a clinic running. So it was really complete, and we had an inpatient team, and we also had a team that went out to the community, out to patients' houses to visit them there. So it was a really lovely place to work in. And actually, this is my dream, you know, to set up something like this in Malaysia. We're a little bit far from it at the moment, but you know, everything starts with a dream. So this is what I envision. Hopefully, one day we will have in Malaysia. So this was my farewell party actually in 2017, actually 5 years ago. I brought nasi ayam to them, you know, for them to try some Malaysian food. And bottom right was my farewell in 2019 before I left for Malaysia. So lovely memories, but most of all, what I remember most was the quality of palliative care that we could provide to patients with life-limiting illness that were dying. The hospice was like a haven, a safe haven for them to be free from symptoms, to die there in peace. And it was just a lovely, lovely place to be in. So like I said, this is my dream to set up something like this in Malaysia. So I graduated basically as a member of the Royal College of General Practitioners in August 2019, after which I returned to Malaysia. These are my 4 beautiful children who keep me going and motivate me to be the best of me. Okay, so right now, so I've been with Kasih Hospice Foundation since February to 2020, so it's been 2.5 years now. You can find our website at kasihfoundation.org, and this is our tree of, you know, our whole team that we, you know, work. We're a great team, a small family basically, and you know, the work, all of us are really passionate about palliative care and the work we do and the difference that we can make in our patients' lives every day. So this is our medical team. We currently have, so on the bottom right is Dr. Xiao, our medical director. We currently have 3 doctors. And 4 nurses, and we have 2 in training. We also have a counselor, and our administrative team is also very important in keeping, you know, the running of everyday running of the organization going. So we all work like a small family. So I'm not sure about the background of everybody who's attending today, this talk. Some of you may know what palliative care is about. Some of you may not. And maybe some have never even heard of hospice. I know out there in the community, you know, when I say I work in hospice, people are like, you mean hospital? You mean, you know, people automatically think it's, you know, like a normal hospital. So lots of people, even doctors, don't know what palliative care is about and what hospice is about. So I'm hoping that today I can share a little bit about what we do. So palliative care, in some countries, they call it supportive care. And so basically, patients with life-limiting illness, usually at a stage where there's no longer a cure, are theoretically supposed to be referred to palliative care. Now, in other countries, they refer quite early on, and so palliative care supports the treatment they are getting in hospital and just kind of walks alongside their the main medical team. In Malaysia, the setting is a little bit different. A lot of people are still not very aware. Even doctors variably, depends on which hospital, which department, refer to palliative care at different stages. Some patients are referred very, very late, meaning at the very end of life. Some patients close to end of life, and some patients earlier on. When we talk about palliative care, we talk about symptom control. So even though patients have an illness or a condition that has no cure, there are many ways where we can actually keep the patient comfortable. And this is what we are all about. We're talking about controlling symptoms so that the person can live a comfortable life every day, even though they have a condition, even though they have an illness. And sometimes people feel like, oh, that's the end of it. There's no cure. I've been given 6 months, 3 months, I'm just going to have to suffer until then. And that is the complete opposite of what we believe. We believe that actually you can be comfortable up till the very end. If not completely, at least we want to try and relieve the pain and the discomfort to maybe 80 to 90% if we can. We focus on quality of life. So even though we know that life is limited, to a degree, but there's so much quality that we can give to that time that's left. We're all about fulfilling wishes as well, because when somebody knows that they have a short amount of time left, they may have things that they want to do, things that they wish to do with their loved ones, things that they want to do regarding their property, things that maybe some of their dreams that they wanted to chase or do in their lifetime. And it's all about that as well, really treating every patient as a person and giving them that fulfillment of whatever time that they have left. It's about spending the best of the time with the loved ones within that time. And basically it's about adding life to days, even though sometimes we cannot add on days to their life. So in Malaysia, the setting is such that each country has quite a slightly different setting for palliative care. In Malaysia, palliative care, there are some hospitals who have a palliative care department. And in the hospital, they have an inpatient unit, so a ward, and clinics. So this is the typical setup, but not all hospitals have palliative care. We really want to push for all hospitals to have it because, we believe it's essential part of anybody's care. Now, what is hospice? That's hospital, right? So what is hospice? As I showed you when I was training in the UK, hospice is basically a different entity in its own right. It has its own building, its own inpatient unit. But in Malaysia, generally, this is not the case. So especially in Klang Valley, we are mostly NGOs and we run as a home visit service. So we are based in the community and in the home rather than an inpatient unit. We'd love to have one, but the major issue is cost because it's really, really expensive to run an inpatient unit. And because we are all charity organizations, we collect our own funds, we provide free services to all our patients. And therefore, cost is obviously a big factor in how we run things. And so at this point, the most cost-efficient way or the best way to treat our patients is to do a home visit service rather than an inpatient service. So obviously, the more support we get, hopefully with government support, with more funds, then we can actually set up something that's more complete like, the more advanced countries. So in there, I've put in red inpatient because like I said, that's what I really hope one day we will have, because for some people, home is the best place to be. Home is the best place to die because they've got a lovely place, lovely family to support them. That is the most suitable place to be at the end of life. But for some people, they do not have family. Maybe their home is unsuitable. Maybe they don't have enough money to sustain themselves. Maybe they've been estranged for the family. And it really is, a subgroup of patients that we really wish we could provide something more. And even for those who have, perhaps do have a lovely home, and perhaps they have all the resources, but some people do not want to die at home. They want to die in a place separate than home. And so it really is, a dream to be able to set up an inpatient hospice. We believe that when we talk about pain, that the concept of total pain. So total pain is not, so when we usually talk about pain, we talk about physical pain, right? Like our arm is hurting, or our head is hurting, or our stomach is hurting. But actually there's so much more to pain than just the physical pain. The physical pain is obviously there, but we also believe or talk about emotional pain, the pain of knowing that we have limited amount of time left, the emotional pain of having to leave our loved ones behind, the emotional pain of losing a life that we once dreamed, right? There's so much to that. And that also, there's the emotion and there's a psychological aspect to that. There's also spiritual pain, the meaning of life, why we are here, where we are going, what does life and death mean to us, our role in society, our role in our family. And then there's also social pain. So sometimes, the setup of somebody's social surroundings, it caused them a degree of pain. And so there's so much more to pain than just, what the body feels in physical pain. And as palliative care practitioners, we really believe in this concept of pain, because for some people, their pain or their physical pain isn't that much, but their psychological pain or their social pain is really detrimental, that it really affects them and their quality of life as they head towards the end of life. And so we in palliative care, we try to address all these aspects. So our care is much more holistic. We spend a lot of time with our patients. We don't just ask, where are you hurting? We ask, how do you feel? We ask, what is troubling you? We ask how we can help, perhaps to connect lost loved ones that we've been estranged from, or perhaps help them to obtain or connect to some people who may be able to provide funding, or perhaps help with their social setup so that they are much better supported. So there's so many ways actually that we can support people and reduce the pain, the total pain that they are experiencing. When we talk about comfort care, so it doesn't mean that we completely give up, right? We're not going to treat anybody, no medicines, just let them suffer. I can see somebody raising a hand. Maybe we can open for questions towards the end. I'll just finish off first because I'm very aware that there's a limited amount of time. But please don't, please ask your question, yeah? Right, so when we talk about symptom control, so some people feel really devastated. It's like, no, what's the point of living? I can't, there's no cure for my cancer. I just feel like you might as well take my life away. But then when it's the daily things that matter, like that person may be having chest pain of, a score of 10 over 10, like a severe pain, and that's why they wish they would die. But when we control their pain with strong medication, with suitable medications, finally they realize, oh, they don't have to feel like they want to die. They can actually live a comfortable life, reduce the pain to a minimum, and get on with their daily lives. Some people have trouble breathing. They need oxygen, or perhaps they need medication to help control the difficulty of breathing that they have. And again, when they realize they're able to breathe with all these with all this support, life doesn't feel so horrible, so terrible anymore. Some people have a very, very terrible cough. And again, these are things that we can manage with medications, with certain tactics that we can use. Appetite is also a big issue. Some people really have lost their appetite. And again, we can help with that, certain nutritious drinks, or maybe it's a matter of using a different method of feeding. Many also struggle with nausea and vomiting. And for anybody who's ever vomited or feel unwell, it's horrible. Vomiting is horrible. Feeling like you want to vomit is horrible. And imagine having that every day, all the time. It's really, it's just, honestly, it's like not worth living. Yeah. So we understand why some people feel like, if I've got this terrible illness, I'm struggling with all these things every day. Why should I what's the point of living anymore? Yeah. And so, but all these things can be controlled. Our aim is if we can remove it 100%, that would be our dream. But at least, like I said, if not, we can at least reduce it to, you know, from 100 to perhaps 10, 20%. Even things like going to the toilet, which a lot of us just take for granted every day, being able to open our bowels, being able to pass urine. You know, for some patients, this is a problem. And so just relieving people of, you know, their bowels, you know, helping them to pass urine properly, that's a huge relief. And a lot of things, I think, you know, people who are well, we don't realize that these can be things that's so discomforting, so troubling, and actually reduce a person's quality of life. And as simple as sleep, you know, unable to sleep, sometimes because of pain, sometimes because of breathing difficulties, or perhaps just worries, you know. And again, there's several measures that we can take as a palliative care team to help with these symptoms. And just imagine somebody with perhaps having all these symptoms, and we can control all of them. It really, really changes their life. Suddenly they're no longer struggling with these, in agony with these, and they realize I can actually still enjoy my life, or at least, you know, appreciate this little time I have left with my loved ones and do what I want in this little time that I have left. So this is really our aim when we talk about comfort care. And a part of palliative care is also end-of-life care. And this is obviously at the end of the disease progression, at the end of the illness where that person is going to pass on soon. We call this phase end of life. And one of the things that hospice services provides, which is actually a very, which is you know, something that we try to achieve for most people, if that's what they want, is to be able to die at home. And why? Because, you know, you're with family, you're not surrounded by people who you don't know, you're in the best environment that you're familiar with, you can have the best comfort care. And this is what we try and achieve in what we say a good death. When we talk about end of life as well, when we know that somebody is heading towards their end of life, and this could be, you know, it's very variable from patient to patient. Like I said, it could be that it's imminent, you know, within the coming days. It could be within a few weeks. It could be a few months. And some of our patients have been with us for years even. But we talk about anticipatory grief, meaning that when we know somebody will be leaving, somebody will be passing on soon, we can actually prepare to a certain degree. It's never easy. Grief of losing a loved one, and even grief for the person themselves, the grief of knowing that you are losing a life that you once envisioned, losing your loved one. So it's both ways, for the patient who is having the life-limiting illness, but also for the family members that are losing their loved ones. And we try to, when we know that this is happening or this will happen, even though we don't know exactly when, we prepare them, we prepare the patient, we prepare the family. And so that time that they have left, you know, we talk about 4 elements, you know, saying thank you to that person. And sometimes in our culture, sometimes it's difficult to say these things, saying I love you, saying I forgive you, saying please forgive me. Even though we do perhaps in our hearts say those things, or we show through our actions, but perhaps, you know, some of us are not, it's not a culture, it's not a norm to say these things out. And that in itself it takes a huge relief. You know, it's as if we are allowing that person to pass on, and we have settled, you know, with the people that we love. And when family are able to take care of their loved ones at home, that also helps them with the grief. We noticed that for some patients who, where from their diagnosis, they end up being hospitalized and then they never leave hospital and they die in hospital, the grief is more for their family because they never actually got to look after their loved one at home. And so again, these are some of the things that we can prepare for and try and reduce the degree of grief or the complexity of grief that people go through afterwards, after the passing of their loved one. And also about final wishes. So when somebody knows that they are dying, they can plan, you know, or maybe for some people, they want to do something special, or they want to sort out their finances or their property or their will, or they want to meet certain people. And, you know, they can do it because they know that they have a limited amount of time. But for somebody who feels that, oh, I've got 5 years to do this, then, you know, maybe we can do it next year or next year. But somebody who knows they've probably maybe got 3 months left, right? Maybe I want to do it next week, right? So the things that they can still do, we can, you know, try and make that happen, discuss with the family about how we can fulfill the person's final wishes. And just to share some stories about some final wishes that we have, there are many, but a few that kind of I remember. One especially was my patient was a 12-year-old girl. She was a Caucasian girl, and she had a brain tumor. She was 12 years old. And basically she, towards the end of her life, she was so angry. She was so angry that there was no cure for her brain tumor, that she was going to die so young. And so she made a resolution that she was going to have her brain donated to a laboratory in the United States so that other children can get a cure for their cancer if she didn't get the cure. I literally cried when I heard this, because this beautiful young girl had, having this beautiful heart that, if she can't get better, then maybe somebody else can. And so we went to, this has never been done before in Malaysia. Nobody knew how to do it, who to do it, how to do it. And it has to be all prepared right from the moment of death. We know what to do, who to send to, who's going to, take out her brain, who's going to prepare the slides, how it has to be kept, how long it has to be kept, who's going to courier it for it to arrive safely at the laboratory, and so that it can be used in the way that she wanted to. So there was a lot of effort and a lot of people to try to make this happen, for the police to give all the green light for this to occur. And yet at the same time, while doing that, we knew that this girl was dying, to prepare her for her death, to prepare her family for her death. So it was a very, very challenging, but at the same time, we were hoping that by fulfilling this little girl's wish, it was her kind of her goodbye, and her what she wanted to contribute to this world, and so her family as well, that was their closure, to be able to fulfill the daughter's final wish. There was a patient who wanted to return to the hometown, even though we were caring for them here. They wanted to return to another state, and so we had to go makan at their house before, we arranged an ambulance for them to go back to their hometown. Some patients, just wanted to go to the beach before they are too unwell to go. There was a patient where somebody sponsored a trip to what's it called, Port Dickson, one of the lovely resorts there. It was a young mother with young children, so that she could have a final holiday with her young children before she died. She was in so much pain when she went, and actually after she just really held on to that pain, because she wanted to grant them that final holiday. And then after that, she went into hospital and she passed away. So it's this very, very, we can't quantify the amount of the fulfillment it gives, the families, the patients, and also ourselves as the palliative care team, to be able to do these things for the patients, for our patients and their families. We're also advocating a lot about advanced care planning, or ACP. And this is about, for those who have heard or those who haven't heard, is basically what we want to educate the public, not just patients, but definitely our patients. We try to incorporate this with all our patients, but this is actually very relevant for anybody. And I think we realize this, especially with the COVID pandemic, that anybody can go at any time, or anybody can fall ill suddenly at any time. And so advanced care planning is actually about planning your care in advance. So for instance, say if somebody were to ask me, say if I were to fall ill, of course we don't wish this upon anyone, but we really don't know when it will happen. If I were to fall ill, where would I want to be cared for? Who would I want with me? Would I want to have, would I want to stay with my mom? Would I want to have a carer in the house? Would I want to return to my hometown? Especially if I'm not able to make decisions for myself. So perhaps I have a brain injury, I can no longer communicate my wishes. I can actually list them all down in advance, and tell my family or my doctor or my close friends, so that if anything happens to me, they know that I have an advanced care plan. They know that this is what I wish if something were to happen to me. So for instance, I can say that if I'm no longer in a state that can be recovered, meaning that the doctors have confirmed that I have brain death, or my condition will there's no way to recover it, is irreversible, then I don't want to be admitted to ICU. I don't want to have a feeding tube. I don't want to have CPR done to me. I just want to be I want to have comfort care, perhaps in my mother's home. I want my children to be with me. I want perhaps a nurse as a kind of as a caregiver, 24-hour caregiver alongside my family. I want to die at home. So all these things I can write down in advance. And obviously, if you want anything else as well, it doesn't matter. I want to go to hospital. I want to go to this specific hospital, this specific doctor. I want everything to be done. Make sure I get CPR. I mean, we can try, you know. So basically, when we have an advanced care plan in place, it not only helps us to get what we wish, but it also helps our loved ones to make the decisions for us when they have to make these difficult decisions. When they know that this is actually our wish, then they can try and fulfill their wishes. And the doctors too, when we know that actually you wish this and you wish that, we will try our best to give you what you wish if we can and if it's appropriate. So ACP is a big thing that, you know, in Kassim we are trying to roll out in the community. We are trying to do with all our patients so that we know what everybody, you know, what everyone wants in the situation that they become unwell or are no longer able to make decisions for themselves. And just to talk about some misconceptions in palliative care. So a lot of people think that palliative care is only about the dying phase at the end of life. And of course we are there at that stage as well for everyone, but we actually prefer if people are referred on earlier, because it means that we can support you earlier. We can prepare you earlier. All these conversations are very difficult to have, you know. What would you know, talking about death and dying, talking about how this feels for the, you know, for a patient. Sometimes they can't talk to their loved ones about how they feel, about their worries, because then it would worry their loved ones. For the loved ones, they can't talk to the patient because they also don't want the patient to worry about them, right? So we are here to have those conversations, those difficult conversations with patients, with families. And even that is such a huge relief for them to know that somebody understands the pain of that, what they're going through, the challenges, the difficulties. And really, that's what we do. We listen, we understand, we support, we hold their hand all the way to the very end. And so the earlier patients are referred to us, families are referred to us, it means we can create that bond early, we can give the support early, and we can really walk with you right to the very end. People think it's expensive, but actually, you know, hospice care is free of charge. Like I said at the beginning, we all run as charity NGOs, we collect our own funds. We are hoping to be supported by the government more and more, and we really need everybody's help to support us and support, you know, pushing this up to government level, that, you know, the taxes that we pay should not only pay for us when we are alive and living, but also for until the moment we die. So this should be an essential service to everyone. It's still a taboo because in our society, talking about death can be, you know, it's like some people say it's unlucky to talk about death, or you are wishing death upon yourself, or it's like a dua, you know. But this is, again, we want to try and break these misconceptions, because again, we are not here to hasten anybody's death or even to slow anybody's death, but we are here to support you in your illness, in your in the condition, and reduce as much suffering as we can, and really just be there for you all the way, through your, you know, while you are still healthy, through the times that you are struggling, and all the way to the very end. Some people think it's difficult to access, but you may be surprised to know that you can actually, you know, self-refer. You can. And so the last point is also requires a doctor to refer. So a lot of, it's beautiful now that we have been in the community for a while, some people actually self-refer to us. So they say, oh, you know, my father was under Kasih, and now my auntie, can she be under Kasih too? Or, you know, my previously was my father, now it's my mother. So more and more people, when they've actually been, have received hospice care, they actually really appreciate what they get, and they know it's absolutely essential, and it's such a valuable service to get. Some, you know, I had a patient who I never met or never managed to meet, because the moment she was referred to me, and then the son called me, I think late in the evening, and then the mother had very severe symptoms. Basically, I advised them to go to hospital, because the condition that she had was not something that we could treat in the community. It has to be in hospital. So she had a lot of fluid in her stomach that needed a tube to bring it out. So we can't do that in the community. And then unfortunately, the patient stayed on in hospital and passed away in hospital. So I never met the patient, but the son who I supported from the beginning. He was so anxious. He was the only son supporting both his parents. He was all over the place. But the relief he got from hospice services, just being able to talk to someone about his worries, about his mother, about everything that he was worried about, really, really meant a lot to him, to the extent that he was so thankful for our services. And when his mother passed away, he really wanted to give back to hospice. Like, what can he do so that other people are aware, other people can also receive the same care? So just to say that, you know, people are touched by our services in so many different ways. And sometimes it's very difficult to measure, you know, the quality of services, or what people get actually from palliative care and from community hospice. But, you know, from us as the staff, as the people who are involved in this, this is what makes us come to work every day. This is our passion. This really fills our heart, you know, to be able to help patients and their families at this very, very challenging time in their lives. And so I hope that has given, I'm very aware that we are now at 3:40 and I'm, you know, my time is due. And I'm sorry that I can't cover, you know, the breadth and depth of everything we do, but I hope that's given a little overview of what we do in community hospice and what palliative care is about. And what we really hope is that more and more people are aware, more doctors, more nurses, more the community, you know, everyone, patients and their families are aware that these services are available. Unfortunately, I think the only thing is that in some areas, there are still no hospices. So in Klang Valley, we do have quite a few, but even so, there are areas that are still not covered by hospices. And in other states, there are, you know, at least one hospice, but again, may not be able to cover the whole state. Some have a few more. And so what we really wish is, you know, that we all work together to increase this service in the community, to have more hospices, to have government, you know, this funded by the government, and to have just support from everyone. And for anybody who's, you know, who's interested to join as a hospice nurse or a hospice doctor, please, you know, approach anyone in the field, and, you know, we welcome you with open arms. I would say that, you know, a lot of people in palliative care are very, very lovely. I mean, it's not speak of myself, but the people I work with, you know, with good hearts. And so, you know, we really love more people on board in this field. Okay, I know there are questions, but I understand question and answer is at the end. So I will probably, for now, hand back over to Dato' Vincent. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Dato' Vincent, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Munira. I think you did an excellent comprehensive presentation. It has covered palliative care very well, from terminally ill to the end of life. So the various factors you have covered, and also the emotional and spiritual support, sense of completion of closure of one's life, and the final wishes. And before, that final wishes are very important, because before you say goodbye. So, and also you talk about ACP, very good, because why you do ACP? Because why? It address the stress issue, you know, the management by the caregivers and family members, because you take away the stress. If you got ACP, you take away stress because everything is planned, properly planned. And secondly, you don't regret dying, because you don't regret dying. Because you don't say, I should have done this, I could have done, but it's too late. So please, ACP, I saw there's one question on ACP. That's very good. Thank you very much. We shall proceed because time is getting short, and we shall proceed to the next speaker. There will be the next speaker is on this topic, the topic on experiences from past caregivers, stress journeys, by Sister Anne Tuga Devi, Managing Director of Lotusville Senior Care Center. And let me read her CV. She is a Managing Director of Lotusville Care Center in Johor, who has Diploma in Nursing in 2009, BSc Honors in Nursing Studies and followed by postgraduate MSc Palliative Care in Nursing in 2016 from Newcastle, UK. And she has more than 15 years in experience in nursing, solid 10 years experience in geriatrics palliative care practices based in Singapore, Australia, setting where she always have faith in holistic approach will touch every patient's and family's quality of life. Thank you. Over to you. Let's welcome Dr. Tuga Devi. And over to you, Dr. Devi, Mrs. Devi.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon to everyone. So first of all, thanks for IELTS Asia for the very well prepared and organized for the Zoom talks, and also really with with warm thanks to Dr. Munira. First time I'm meeting you, as you have covered the whole hospice and palliative, where I also have the same ambitions to bring the setup in Malaysia, because it's really touched the lives, it's a human lives. And also thanks to Dr. Vincent and Dr. Kong as well. So without we delay, just want to say that Dr. Munira has covered basically on the palliative care and the elements, whatever the importance parts. But there is another major part that's usually in palliative and hospice, the caregiver stress. The caregiver stress have to be bring up to the first priority, as their loved one is going through a suffering. For them, it looks like suffering, and they also suffer. They're seeing the suffering within their loved one, and there's a lot of misunderstanding. Even though even the patients say it's pain, the family members say it's not pain, it's just your imaginations. Yeah, so there is a lot of misunderstanding. So ACP is really one thing is very good in the first platforms, I believe, but also just would like to highlight ACP is not a confirmed or is a final decisions, and it still be amended, can be amended in future if the family member or the patient would like to do some changes, in medical preference and all. Aside of that, also throughout our experience, I've seen a lot of our elderly who's going through chronic illness where they have no reverse medical treatment, and they usually will be like waiting for the day they are going. So some of them able to take it that, some can't. They feel that there are more to go, they need to live in this world. So whenever we have this kind of situations, the caregivers, especially the family member, can't let them go. They feel that she needs to live more, or she or he needs to live more. So that part will be very tough for us whenever we would like to approach the family members. So aside of that, also throughout my experience, I just want to share one story that he is 45 years old, he's a single, he's not married, but he was generally from a medical background, and he sees patients die. When it comes to him, he can't take it. So he want to prolong his life. So he have done a lot of, procedures, surgeries, operations and all, but yet that's already advanced, how to say, colon CA, and he can't prolong. So he's not ready to death. Even he did his ACP within us, then he said, I'm not ready to death, try to prolong my life. So that part was very tough for myself and my doctor when talked to him, because he also a medical person. So when we try to understand why he want to leave, then we understand that he want to live for his mom. So we really need to talk to him and the mother also. The mother feels that the son is not complete the life. So you see, if the mother is there and the son want to prolong, but the mother don't want to see the son is suffering. So it's quite tough for us when we want to talk to both of them. So at the end, the mother said, it's okay, I understand to let him go. So, but for the patient, until the last minutes of his death, he still have the hope. So where is the hope comes? Sometimes the family member give the hope. So we must make sure the caregivers who's taking care of the patient literally to understand that the hopes is not going to be there for permanent. So aside of that, also understanding of the patient needs for family member is quite difficult, especially in pain. and they say she's suffering. So we must understand what is suffering does mean for the family and the patient. So as a nurse, we really need to talk to both parties and understand what is suffering from the family and what is suffering from the patient's view. So we have to differentiate and talk to them, both of them. Then from there, we really need to talk and bring the reality within them. So this is how is the challenges go through within the caregiver and the patients, especially when you see someone is dying, your loved one is dying. So the family member really, it's tough to let them go, yet as a medical team we have to make them prepare to let them go. So in currently in my practices in Lotus View, what we are doing is we are doing some activities. It's like to let go activities. So we give the last final wishes from the patients, and there will be activities separately for the family member after the patient passed on also. So there are some activities really can let go their emotionals and their stress. Along the way, we also educate the caregiver on how to cope the stress level. Sometimes it's like education on pain management and their side effect, the symptoms management, especially like those are CA patients, cancer patients. Literally, they will go through nausea, vomiting, as what Dr. Manira has shared earlier. So we have to really educate the family member how to cope on this situation, especially during their symptoms and their pain, and also emotional drain. So what we usually does is we always refer them to counseling and spiritual. When you follow the spiritual, if they are okay, they have to believe and faith in God, we will usually recommend to talk to pastor. And for Malays like Haji, all the Haji people, those that have went to Haji and used to talk to them. And for Buddhist monks, usually they does that the prayers. So we always try to bring the bereavement also. Sometimes all depend on patient's needs as well and the family member needs as well. Some free thinker, we don't see a lot of challenging. They really feel that dying is one of the basic and it's a very nature process of human being in this universe. But some are very, very challenging when they have not ready for death, and especially the family member and the patients. That is where we meet the very high challenge sometimes uh, on explanations. Yeah. During the ACPs, we usually discuss on their understanding of the illness. So we also will try to bring out the words from the family member and the patient as well. What does mean the death meaning for them? So from there, we have to see what is the understanding, and based on that, we will try to touch the platform of the death and get them ready. Yeah. Not everyone is ready for that. It's very hard, and as Dr. Manira said earlier, it's very sensitive, especially to our Asians. They feel that it's a taboo. It's like choi choi la. They said it's like dying is a very taboo topic to talk. But when it comes to hospice and palliative, that's one of the main topic that we literally we have to speak to the family member and to make them understand that there are no chance for them, and only we can enhance on their quality of life, and especially during their dying process. During the dying process, as the final wishes play the main role, and we can do some albums for our loved one. That like a patient, we can help. We as a teams and nurses teams, and we have allied health professionals who usually helps our patient to make some creative albums to uh, pass to our patient's family after they passed on. So this is something remembrance. This kind of activity really can be very helpful, or the family member can organize a family gathering with the patients on his likes and dislikes, so that can give him some quality of lives. And it's very tough basically, but it's all about talk. You have to speak. the communications within the patients, the family member is very, very essential. And we as a medical team, the between middle person, have to really play the role, balancing up for family member and the patient. So we try to engage more activity to understand of their needs and ensure the quality of life is there in their end of life. So what I mean of caregiver stress for relievers, usually the caregiver, those are taking care of the patient who's dying, they will drain emotionally, and they also will go through the grief and bereavement after the patient passed on. So during that period, what we usually does is we call them after a month and follow up with them how they are coping with their loss, and we also pay a visit and talk to them how they are coping, and we try to get some society help to the family member to do some visits. If the family is coping well, then we will try to finish with 1 calls or 2 calls, and then if the family member still in very hard time, do some like they are really into a very deep grieving, then we will do pay visits, and we try to engage them in activities post grieve and bereave and all. So that's how we spend times with the family member, for the especially the caregiver, once their loved one has passed on. Aside of that, also for the patients, those are not ready to death, they also will be under stress, so and emotionally drained. We have to speak to them how we will talk. That will be the questions, right? Yeah, we must really talk to them on the birth, what does meaning for them, the birth, and must understand their understanding of death also. Based on that, we have to slowly talk to them, then we build their trust on us to share their personal opinion on the death. So it's a very long, tedious process to understand a patient who's going through the dying process, and especially stress is not a very, very simple things to go through. So usually a lot of activities involved. We does a lot of activities, especially in what do you call that? My current setting as Dr. Munira. I also have experience in Singapore. So we does a lot of ACPs for cancer patients and chronic illness. So I'm trying to set up the same setting here over here as the inpatient hospice, but that of course that's involved cost, but those are for capable family member. We are trying to give them the quality of life in our center. And I also does a lot of home visits, hospice, especially for those are dying patients, literally like prognosis less than 3 months. Then we do used to visit their house and see how the family is coping on the symptoms management as well. Yeah, so these are the literally is the stress how we manage in the caregiver and the patient as well. So activities plays the main role on caregivers management. So it's like you have to really understand what does make them stress. So whenever they are in stress, we must understand what caused them the stress. So from based on that only, we try to help them out. Maybe they don't know how to manage the symptoms, so they become very, very stressed, and they feel that I can't do much. It's better for them to let them go. So we must understand what does mean suffering to the caregiver. So we must make them to understand. So it's not a simple process, as I say. So it's really need to talk. So basically, we have to talk. Counseling play a part, and also to give them some advice and educate the family member is very, very important. Educate how to manage the symptoms, and educate them also to understand the patient needs, and that's where the ACP also play the main role. Yeah, as Dr. Munira shared earlier. Yeah, so I think it's a 4 o'clock. It's just nice for me. I don't want to drag the time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, because it's quite interesting talk, and you have covered about the stress management, And we have covered about the symptom management, and also the thing is you have also given a very good example of how a person wants to prolong his life. That's the most difficult, because you need a lot of compassion, a lot of counseling, honest conversation. But most difficult of all is to come to terms of our mortality. This is a universal challenge. If we don't come to terms, then become a challenge for caregiver, for everybody, how to convince him that you cannot live forever. That the life, there's a lifespan on it. So this one, thank you for your enlightenment on this area, and we shall now move to the next speaker.
Dr. Vincent, there's a video to play. Yeah,
What's that?
A video. Yeah.
This is something that what we are. I'm currently.
Oh, you got a
starting
video,
my
okay?
notice period. Yeah. So for our hospice patients, and we trying to bring in some inpatient as well. Yeah. Thanks, Olivia. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for Tuga Devi. Thank you. And then now we go to the next interesting topic on TCM, complementary medicine on palliative care, by Dr. Kong Wai Hong, the managing director of Asian Integrated Medical Syndrome Berhad, AIMS Healthcare. So this Dr. Kong, let me read his CV. Dr. Kong is one of the elite few medical practitioners in Malaysia, known as the integrative doctor, who has combined qualifications, knowledge and experience of both TCM and modern medicine. He graduated as a traditional medicine TCM physician in Guangzhou University of TCM, China in 1998, and completed his medical degree at the Crimean State Medical University, Ukraine in 2010. Let us welcome Dr. Kong, and Dr. Kong, the floor is yours.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
Yeah, can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Dr. Kong, the founder of the AIM Healthcare and the iElder.Asia. So thank you, our host, Dr. Vincent, and our Dr. Morena, and Ms. Turigawati. So for joining this session of palliative care. Yeah. So basically, I am a certified practitioner of medical, both Western medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. So with the accreditation from the Ukraine and Guangzhou University. So I have been practicing integrative medicine for about 20 years. So now when it comes to the palliative care, and complementary medicine can assist improve a patient quality of life in many different ways. So I think basically just now we have listened to Dr. Morena and about the care, and Ms. Tuga Devi about the caregiver and palliative care specialist care for the cancer patient. So what I have learned from China perspective, China medical perspective, they practice both integrative medicine. That means a combination of modern and traditional medicine to the cancer patient. But so we can see a very good feedback and a good response from most of the patient, especially the fourth stage patient, fourth stage cancer patient. Of course, in this palliative care, I think there is no single or lone ranger can be a hero to treat palliative, the cancer patient. This is a multidisciplinary care. So basically, from Chinese medicine, normally we use acupuncture therapy and some trainer and herbal medicine to relieve the pain of the patient from the chronic ache or from the cancer pain, which is something we often minister to the cancer patient and all kind of the chronic disease patient, like stroke patient as well. So traditional Chinese medicine can also strengthen the condition of our body by using the herbal, all this TCM procedure to strengthen our body and antibodies to prevent any further health complication from affecting this patient. Of course, from the palliative care itself, the TCM concept is actually the main objective is to provide the better quality of life. The second is to lengthen the life, to prolong the life length, of the patient. Of course, the most important, I think, is the quality of life. I think the patient basically they're suffering from mentally torture as well, and also pain and others like digestive problem, unable to swallow, unable to eat, no good appetite. All this through the herbal medicine or acupuncture, we may complement the mainstream medicine, mainstream medical practice. For example, vomiting. Vomiting is the side effect from many chemotherapy or radiotherapy treatment. So basically, herbal medicine and acupuncture is really good to reduce or to ease the vomiting, to relieve the vomit from, to solve this problem for this patient. But of course, when it comes to the traditional medicine, we take a very holistic approach to treat illness. We are not treating, we are not saying to kill the cancer cell. I think killing the cancer cell is still back to our mainstream medical treatment. Like for example, like chemotherapy, target therapies, and radiotherapy to kill the cell. For end-stage patient, for fourth stage or end-stage palliative care patient, normally normally there is no better way to treat really. We just can make them more easily to go through his life until the end. So we base on our treatment concept. Normally we like qi flow and bodily yin and yang to remedy the inactive of symptom. So basically we improve the blood circulation, improve the qi in order them to have the strengthened energy to fight the disease. And we also try the TCM also to balance it, the yin and yang, in order to have a better body condition. So by improving the body condition as a whole. So and as such, in addition to our treatment, we also recommend proportionate and a well-balanced diet, regular exercise and sleep, and encourage our patient to maintain a positive mindset. I think the mindset is the most important most important care in palliative care. Yeah. So basically, TCM just in Malaysia, we take it as a complement or complementary medicine to the mainstream to give better quality of life to palliative care patient. So if you like to learn more about TCM or would like to try it out, I mean, for those who really need it, so you may make an appointment with me. So I have a polyclinic in Cheras Bedana and practice in KBJ Tawakal Health Center as well. So please feel free to call. I will just share my experience to those who really need. But basically, there is no any. I mean, here I would like to emphasize there is no any single herbs or any magic any remedy to really cure. Because in outside world there are many advertisements to show that this can or that can, this herbal can, that can. But I think from my experience and throughout all my patients, first I can see the confidence of the patient to the doctors and to the practitioner is very important, and also a very strong determination to heal and to know that what is the meaning of life. I think most of my patient, when they know the meaning of the life, I think that is a very big gap, big success in the palliative care. When you know the meaning of life, you know how to, when the patient know how to go on through the remain life before the end of life, they know how to create value. And from that onwards, I can see there are so many smiling face on the patient, even though they are suffering from pain. I think the most important, is not the medication or what therapy. I think the most important is the confidence and what we can really, and the courage and the hope. Of course, hope is not to really, of course, we are not giving the false hope, but at least they can see some hope to have a better life or live better in the quality. So that's all I would like to share today. So thank you very much. Give back to Dato' Vincent. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kong. He has covered quite important area of palliative care using TCM. So you can see that using TCM, you can have better quality of life, and perhaps you can prolong life also. Because especially so many unknown, especially cancer and things like that, side effects of vomiting, all these unknown causes, so it's very difficult. So you can try it out with TCM, because you have to give it another way of treatment. So I think so they can provide some comfort and to the patient, and besides your support and compassionate support and all this. So of course he ended up by saying that the person has to find meaning in life to face up with the challenge of impending death and things like that, so that the person can live, be prepared for a meaningful life and be prepared for dying. So I think that's interesting. So now we have finished all the 3 presentations. We shall now open the floor for Q&A. So we have questions here. So here we have one question that is, if any of you wants to speak, to ask question physically, you can put up your hands and they will give you a chance. But here we have one question here. It talks about, just now I thought I saw one question. The question is about ACP. It talk about ACP, that where can you get ACP treatment, ACP planning? Who do you speak to and how to contact for the ACP thing? Because it's very interesting to be prepared for any eventuality of death and things like that, so that you can take away the stress from all the caregivers and family members. So I think over to you, Doctor, about ACP, where to get these type of services and things like that.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. So yeah, I did answer the questions in.
Oh yes.
There was a chat, but I don't know where it is now. It's gone.
Yeah, I don't know where is it also.
It's gone. It's disappeared. Anyway, thank you to the person who asked. Sorry, I can't remember who it was, but basically, just to share that in Malaysia, ACP is not a legal document, meaning that in other countries, for instance, in the UK, there is a legal document. So once you fill that in and it's signed, actually, there is a legal duty to follow that. And the person who you elect. So as part of ACP, we can also elect somebody to make decisions on our behalf, especially if we cannot make them ourselves. So in our ACP in Kasih, we call it a healthcare representative. It has many names, like some people call it other things, because it's not a fixed document in Malaysia. In some countries, it's a fixed document to the extent it's actually in your IC. So I mean, I feel that that's really good. Means that everybody has it. If you want it, you can have it in in your it's all there for somebody to refer to when they need it. But in Malaysia, it's not like yet a legal document, and we don't have one specific document that everybody uses. Meaning that even if you have an ACP, nobody is legally binded to follow it. But I think despite theoretically thinking, some people may think, then why don't we make it legal? Why don't we make it a legal document? Why don't we just make everybody have it? But actually, Singapore tried to do this, but it didn't work because our culture, the Asian culture perhaps, there's still a lot of, just ask my family, or just let my doctor make the decision, So actually, not everybody wants to do that, to have the ACP. Some want to leave it to somebody else, you see. So therefore, it's maybe not the most ideal thing to have right now. But anyhow, despite all that, I think it's important for those of us who wish to have our own ACP. In fact, because it's not formal and legal document, you can modify it any way you wish, meaning that we came up with our own in Kasih, and you're more than welcome to use it. You can just contact our office and we can share it with you. You can modify it as you like, whatever you want to have in there, you don't want to have in there, you can just remove. But the most important thing is when you fill in an advanced care plan, do not keep it to yourself, because the whole point is so that other people know what you wish if anything happens to you. So make sure you share it with at least your closest family member. If you have a personal doctor, your doctor, if you have, a good close friend, let them have it, and have one ready for emergency. Like for instance, if in the case that an ambulance has to come and take you at home, you have an extra copy to go with the ambulance to bring to the hospital. So, and also because it's not, it is a modifiable document, meaning that say for today you decide something and then a month later or a year later you say, hey, no, I want to change my mind. No problem. You just change it, you do it all over again, but then you give it to you just make sure everybody has the newest copy lah. That's all. So feel free to ask for the Kasih copy. You can use it. We've actually done a few workshops about ACP, and we may have some upcoming. If you're interested, let us know, and perhaps we can have one if there are enough people interested to do it. So we run through the things that may be important in it, and we do a workshop to try and fill it in together. So yeah, if people are interested, do let us know. There was also a question about euthanasia or assisted dying. And I think that's a really good question. In Malaysia, assisted dying or euthanasia is illegal, as in many countries. There are a few countries who have legalized it, meaning allows euthanasia, allows assisted dying. What we understand and what we see is that those who wish to die actually have underlying perhaps symptoms that are not well controlled, or they have fear of dying because they do not want to be in pain when they die, or they have other aspects of pain, the psychological pain, emotional pain, social pain that maybe we have not addressed. So what we find that if our patient has talked about euthanasia, we sit down with them, have these conversations, really understand why is it that they wish for euthanasia. So one of the patients that I had, an uncle, he really wanted it. He said, in other countries it's legal. Why can't we do it here? But then when I talked to him, really went deep into the discussion, I found out that he is afraid of dying because he doesn't want to be in pain when he dies. And he felt that when that time comes, that he has no control over what he wants. And I said, uncle, that is absolutely, the opposite. You have all the control you want. You tell me, let's discuss now. What do you wish? When that happens, when you are towards the end, and what do you wish us to do for you? Would you like us to control your pain even though it makes you drowsy? And then he said, yes, let me just go to sleep. I just don't want to feel the pain. I said, uncle, that is your wish. We will jot it down, and we will make sure that you are not in pain if and when the time comes. So, and because of that, he then, didn't feel that he required the euthanasia anymore. So we feel that usually it's a request because people, again, whether it's out of fear or they have symptoms that are not well controlled, or it's the situation of their family or their personal situation that needs addressing. So hopefully, it's something that we can address.
Okay.
There was somebody else who put up their hand earlier. I think, was it I don't know whether accident was it Rosita Muhammad? No, did you have something to ask, or was that I think during my talk you put up your hand, but I didn't take it at the time.
So is there anyone can put up their hands and ask physical question? No problem.
There's somebody who raised their hands.
Yeah, ada. But because I couldn't see.
Is it Nur Shafika?
No, Rosita Muhammad, no.
Is it allowed to talk?
Yeah, boleh. I don't know. Can
I've done it. I don't know.
Just unmute there. See her.
Yeah, I think she's muted her speaker.
Would you like to unmute Nur Shafika?
Nur Shafika, yeah, yes.
Shafika, you are muted.
Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, Doktor. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Oh, Rosita, ya?
Rosita, saya cerita. I'm sorry, Doktor. Actually, earlier, I'm just this one accidentally pressed.
Tak apa.
But this one is very interesting for me and new knowledge for me to hear this one about hospice.
No, thank you so much for coming and for listening. Yeah, I just worried in case you wanted to ask something and you felt I ignore you.
But very interesting. This one very interesting talk. Actually, I'm from Pantai Hospital.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for coming, Rosita.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Kalau ada soalan lagi ya.
Syafika, macam angkat tangan. Are you there?
Okay.
Anybody else? I mean, for the idea. So there's some questions. Now I can see the questions. In the Q&A bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea to set up hospice organization in rural area? Wow. That's a good question. If you're interested, perhaps I don't know how I can answer this in a short span of time, but maybe if you want to come to Kasih and have a chat with our directors who set up Kasih, you feel free to do so. I'm not sure it's something that we can answer very quickly, but yes, please do come. We're in SS3 PJ. Just Google us, we're there. And you can call and make an appointment to come and maybe have a chat with one of us or our directors. We love more and more people to set up hospices, and we really hope to be able to reach everyone in the country so that everybody has access to hospice services. I think there's a question from Wong Ban Hin. How does TCM treat cancer? Maybe Dr. Kong, would you like to answer that one?
Yeah, sorry.
There's a question, yeah. How does TCM treat cancer?
How the TCM treat cancer? Okay. Basically, by herbal medicine and acupuncture. That is the way. I mean, but of course, the herbal medicine, we need to take, I mean, from our TCM theory, we need to make a TCM diagnosis. Even those same similar cancer, I mean, in terms of modern medicine, even modern medicine, like, for example, breast cancer, but even those same types of cancer, but have different syndromes. We so-called TCM syndromes. So from different TCM syndromes, so we will prescribe different remedy to the patient. So that is no single remedy to certain cancer is like that. Because in outside world, they thought that maybe there is a single herbs or single remedy to treat this cancer, this herbal to treat that cancer. No, there's no such way, because no single remedy suit to everyone from TCM perspective of view. So normally we base on the individual. So we need to see individuals and in different kind of stages and different types of body condition. So normally we are by using herbal remedies and acupuncture. So why acupuncture? Acupuncture basically to stabilize the yin and yang. Just now I mentioned that the yin and yang and a lot of neurological imbalance and the hormone imbalance. So basically, acupuncture may so-called regulate. So all this imbalancing. So by balance all this imbalance, so the patient itself may have a better metabolic or better immune system in order to fight the disease. Okay, of course we have the herbal medicine itself. There are so many so-called ingredients inside the herbals. So in China, they have done a lot of study. They extract certain elements from certain kind of herbs. So they did a lot of study. So eventually they take it as become a modern medicine already. That's why nowadays there are so many modern medicine. It come from herbal, actually, but only a single element from the herbs itself. But from TCM perspective viewpoint, we are not taking the element. We are not. So we take the whole herbals. So different type of herbal. When the different combination of herbal will create different effectiveness. So effect. So basically is through the TCM pulsation. I mean, from the pulse taking, from the tongue observation, from the investigation. So we come up a TCM syndrome. Based on that, we treat the patient. That is the very simple and answer. Okay.
Okay.
And the pain management, I think acupuncture is a well-recognized pain management procedure. That means the acupuncture is very good for pain management. So now there are a lot of patients, I mean cancer patients, to use acupuncture for pain management. Okay, this is the way.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kong. Now we'll take one more question before we end. Because it's already 4:30. So that's what. So one more question is to Ms. Tuga. I mean, can you see?
Yeah. I noted. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question from Liu Hoi. Is it? Yeah. Wait. Yeah. So actually, there's a varieties of activities. But if you already know that you are burning out right now to take care of your loved one, you really need some external support, something like, like inpatient hospice, like what is Kasih Foundation is doing. You really can seek their help, and you can't avoid. So you must accept the help first of all. And it's really appreciate when you are resilient, but sometimes as a caregiver that you really need some time for you to, to release from the stress. So especially you have to accept some help from the external parties, or you also can consider for respite inpatient for short terms, send them for a home for 1 week, 2 weeks, then you can have your time, then you can back to take care of your loved one. And you have to really set your realistic goal, so what you really wants to do for your loved one. Also aside of that, you also can engage some social support to talk to, like a befriend. There is a app also I noted from Malaysia's KKM side, that is a befriend or something, like they also will give you a call, and you can give a call to the nearest area there, then they will give a call and talk to you how they can help you. And also you can seek some help from our counseling through our Kementerian Kesihatan. Also they have some counseling for the caregiver and all, and they are also willing to give some educations. And first of all, you guys need educations to overcome the stress lah. That's why I believe once you know how to overcome, so then you can cope all the stress. So first of all, you need to get some education on how to manage all this stress. Yeah, so as I said, accept help, reach out to the society and get some external support, and respite will definitely will help you. Yeah. Thanks. I believe that I have met your explanation, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we have to come to a close of this session webinar. We will try to host more sessions like that. The response looks good. Yeah. But I want to thank all speakers and all of you that attended to stay back, and all the interesting questions, and speakers for all the enlightening talk. I think all of us are benefited from it. And that if you have more questions that are bugging you, you can get in touch with us or email us, and email to AIMS help there, and we will try to answer you all the questions you need to know. And now we come to close, officially come to close now. I will hand it back to Olivia, our MC for today. Olivia, it's back to you. Thank you.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks. That brings us to the end of today's webinar. Before you go, we would like to ask for a favor to fill up this feedback form. And this will allow us to improve upon our topics and presentation in our future webinar and sharing session. You can see that you can scan the feedback form here. If you're interested in attending more webinars like this, to sign up our newsletter, the EndCast portal, that we have our Facebook there as well, and where that we announce our upcoming events, and also the IELTS website, MCOA website, and the Hospice Malaysia, and the Lotus View website as well, and as well as the interested healthcare and aging articles that we publish in our website as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. It has been a pleasure being your MC today. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
Thank you.
weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.